Hello, Melanie. How are you?
I'm good, Patrice. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, for your time today. This has been something I've been wanting to do for a while, so I'm excited we were able to make it happen.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I heard your music, there was, I want to say it was before The Bridge came out, and there were a few black and white videos that were kind of being shared on social media. And there was one where you were singing in the subway, and there was a guy playing steel pan. And
Steel pan from Harlem. Yeah, from Harlem.
So I am from the islands. I was born and raised in Trinidad, and my grandfather was from Guyana. I love my country. So, yeah, my grandfather was Guyanese, and he migrated to Trinidad in his 20s. So, when I saw that you had a panist as part of your setup, I was like, okay, it immediately made me pay attention, and I love that you incorporated that into your music so early. So talk to me about your background and what role that has played in your music and your career.
Well, my family is, true and through West Indian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only person in my family actually that's not born in the islands or in Guyana, which is where my family's from. So, it was I kind of had an interesting mix of times because I grew up, I grew up in North America. That's where I was born into, but I was born by traditional West Indian parents.
Mm-hmm.
You being of that background, you understand what that is.
Yep.
So the discipline and the way the girl child gets treated, and the way everything, the way that their fundamentals are just very, very different. So it was a good balance, I think, for me to have, and I appreciate that. But mostly, music is such a huge part of the West Indian culture.
Right.
We have our own music, and then as well, like the music that my parents grew up listening to, soul music and records of that nature, just pretty much were alive in the house growing up. So, that's really what set the foundation for me for music, is what came from my parents. And basically whatever they listened to and whatever they were doing at the time in music, my dad, also played guitar. He was in a band, and my mom just loved to sing. And between those two things and the music always being around, it just set the foundation for me for love of music, and it just became like that extra voice in the house. So when things were quiet, it could never be quiet for too long because somebody would put on music.
Right.
And then being mixed and being of West Indian background and growing up in Toronto, where it's such a multicultural city, I was very exposed to different types of people at a young age. So that made me very, open, I think, to wanting to make music that would appeal to different types of people. And I think kind of like that's what set the groundwork. And it was just very important that, no matter where I was at in my career, if you come to my shows, whatever it is, that, people understand that, I put this element in my show and in my music because it's actually a part of my culture.
Yeah.
It's something that I like.
Oh, definitely. I think, and just musically, obviously I'm not a singer, I'm a writer, but I grew up listening to a lot of the same stuff that I think you did, because I realize you do a lot of the covers. I've seen you do a Sam Cooke, and that's like my dad's favorite guy in the whole world, and he's such a, if not the greatest, then one of the top greatest of all time to ever do it, so, yeah.
Absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you grew up with a good, solid foundation. What kind of calypso music did you grow up listening to, and what kind of reggae was playing in the household?
I'm always listening to Byron Lee and Dragon.
Yes.
Byron Lee and Dragon. Bob Marley lives. He lives and reigns forever.
Of course.
And, oh shoot, I left that upstairs. And sorry, I'm just trying to walk out the door at the same time.
But that's okay.
And anyway, it was just very, diverse from even the reggae music of like what Stevie Wonder would do.
Mm-hmm.
His versions of reggae music. So, it was just a nice mixture of soul, calypso, reggae, and then of course being, born in Canada, having that North American radio influence in that way. So I kind of had quite a diverse talent of music.
Definitely. I was lucky enough to visit your hometown of Toronto.